Hi, welcome back to Project Live Awake. My name is Jana Nixa. This channel is all about mastering your mindset, raising your vibe so that you can wake up to all that you truly are. So this topic, we're going to talk a lot about purpose. You know, there's a lot of interesting statistics out there right now regarding people and the stress of their jobs, the fulfillment that they feel in their careers. And unfortunately, for the vast majority, major majority of us out there, we just aren't living from any place really of passion or purpose. You know, we're not happy in our careers. We work like crazy, and there's just not a lot of fulfillment going on right now, just in modern day society. And in this video, I really want to talk about why I think, and just a lot of, books that I've read, and just from a culmination of everything that I've studied up until this point, why that is. And it really has to do with programming. And what I mean by that, and this is nothing intentional that's done by our parents or anything, but if you're anything like me, from a very early age, you heard, just work really hard in school, get good grades, get into a good college, and then you'll get your dream job, and then you'll be happy. And so, you reach a certain age where all of a sudden the things that you used to enjoy, maybe you're just not that good at, or maybe you were told you don't make a lot of money doing that. I mean, I remember in second grade, I wanted to be an artist, and, and no fault of my family's, they just said, that's not a career, that's a hobby. And I think so many of us are told that, to the point that now we have all of these adults running around out there working in these jobs and in these careers that we were told if we did everything right and we checked all of those boxes that we would be happy. So that presents a couple of problems. One, so many of us aren't living our purpose or our passion. And of course, those two go hand in hand. But the other thing is, a lot of us put off our happiness, for the process. Like, okay, I've got to do this, and then I need to check this box, and then if I check this box, and then I get married and I check that box, and then I have children and I check that box, and then A plus B plus C plus D plus E, and decades of checking boxes will ultimately get me to my goal, which is happiness. And I'm here to say that is truly not how we should approach our lives. That is not how I'm approaching lives for my children. It is this notion of the American dream isn't what it used to be. And, the American dream way back when was something where you could come here to this country, hundreds of years ago, and do something that you love, and start a business doing that, and thrive, okay? And thriving for a lot of people just means money, 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 money. But thriving and vitality and really living a full life is so much more than that. I mean, just ask the tons of million and billionaires out there that are just miserable, okay? So let's just put the whole money-making thing aside. And so that's really where this whole American dream came from. And then the American dream has now been, over the last, 50, 75 years, this whole thing that I was raised with, do good in school, get a good job, etc., etc. And the problem is we stop dreaming along the way. And it actually makes me almost tearful, because it's such a sad, it's the death, in the pursuit of the American dream, the individual passion, the individual purpose. All of those things, unfortunately, for a lot of us, die. There's stories and things that I've read and friends that I have who, maybe they ice skated, or they used to draw, or they used to play an instrument, or they used to love to tumble, whatever it is. At some point along the way, they were told, this is a hobby, or you're not good enough to go to whatever level was acceptable, right, for the American dream. And so you really need to let that go. And so all of these kids now are, having to give up on themselves at a very early age. We're teaching them to give up on themselves. I gave up on myself. And it took me a very long time to get back in touch with what I'm truly passionate about, what I'm truly here to do, how I want to serve as Jana. And so I'm really trying to make this video, I'm just kind of going off the cuff here, and I'm just trying to make a play or a statement to say we need to get back to the basics, back to ourselves. To run around in this rat race for virtually, half of our life, our whole life, to get what we think we ultimately want and realize it's just plain not enough. It's a very confusing place to be. And I did experience that. I did all of the things, and I wouldn't say it's not that I was unhappy in my marriage or not liking being a mom, but I just felt like there was more, like something was missing. And so I really think that we need to find that part of ourselves again. It is there, and I'm going to teach you guys how to get back in touch with that. Yes, it's been shut off. Yes, we've completely repressed that part of us, but it is still there. It is still alive and well. And also how to help facilitate and blossom that part of our children. Because I personally don't want to teach my kids that you need to stay in this box. And if you stay in this box and you do really good in this box, you're going to be super happy. Because if you look at the statistics, it's just not true. It's not true. There are some people out there that either followed their heart and truly had the courage to do what they knew with their whole being that they should do. Or B, some people did in fact fall into a career where they really do feel that fulfillment. But I would argue to say that there wasn't a lot of heart involved, because I think that you really do have to involve that. We as a society need to get away from just thinking that our brain's going to figure everything out and ignore that part of your heart. Because while we can sit up these equations and these classes and these degrees and these careers, we have to find a space for the heart there. Because if the heart's not at the table, if the heart is not on board, you will reach a point where you say, what am I doing? Where am I going? Why do I feel so just unfulfilled? I don't want to call it unhappy or depressed, because I don't think necessarily it feels that way for a lot of people. I think it's actually, for a lot of people, just become their natural set point. And we just don't even know what it's really like to dream. I certainly didn't know. I didn't know that I could ask those types of questions. I mean, my life was pretty well figured out. I was in my career. I was doing well. I was successful. And, it really took a spiritual awakening for me, and be in gratefully having success, to find out, to come out the other side and say, hey, I think there's more to life. And for others, it may take just really being down and out. Maybe, what is going on right now in the world, and everybody's careers are kind of turned on their head. There's a lot of different ways that people can start to really examine their life. But I think that if we can just start with a very simple question, and that is, if I could do anything, if money didn't matter and I could do anything, what would I want to do? And just set the intention that the answer will come. And what is so interesting about all of this inner work, you guys, is you're just not going to get there with your brain. It's just not what your brain is for. Your brain is there to analyze, to filter in things into your reality. Your brain is there to, help you think about certain things, but it is not to remember certain things, but it is not there to help you connect with things like your passion and your purpose. Those are heart-centered things. And so if you can ask that question and put your awareness in your heart with the intention of knowing that you're going to find the answer, and it will come. There's really some key things here that I'm just kind of skimming over. I will do another video on the knowing, on the certainty, on the heart, and more about this process. But this first video is just to get you to think, so many of us are on this loop. We've been on this loop our whole life. I think it's 70 to 90% of the thoughts. We have 70 to 90,000 thoughts per day. Over 90% of those, according to Joe Dispenza, are the exact same thoughts we had the day before. So we're just in this cycle. And I know you felt it. I have certainly felt it. You're just, as they say, going through the motions. And it just takes a second. And meditation is really what made me snap out of it, to break that cycle, to break that spell and go, hang on. What am I really doing here? And being really honest with yourself, being brutally honest, and not being afraid to ask that question. If I could do anything. Now, something else I'll probably do another video on, but I'll mention it here too, is that doesn't mean, your purpose and your passion and all of these things doesn't mean you have to end your career and go live in the woods. There was a big part of me when I went through my spiritual awakening where I didn't know. That's all I felt like I needed to do, is just stop the momentum of the life I had and go be somebody else, and you don't have to do that. You can do this gracefully. You can ask these questions without totally uprooting everything. But what I will tell you is it is going to take you out of your comfort zone, because you are going to start to get out of this loop that you've been in, this mindless loop on the hamster wheel of just going through the day, not really ever taking a second to just really just look at your life and ask those questions. Another really great question, to know whether or not, maybe some of this isn't resonating with you. Maybe you are, I am happy. What is she talking about? I do feel, and if you do, then kudos to you. You're one of the lucky few. But another really great question to ask if you're starting to have some of these thoughts, if you've experienced some of the things that I'm talking about, it's called the rocking chair test. And Tony Robbins is where I heard this. And basically it's the end of your life and you're sitting there on your rocking chair on your porch, just looking out over the horizon. And when you look back, can you really be proud of what you did and who you are? Did your personality come to serve your soul? Do you feel good about the life you led? And I love that, because that is the question to know whether or not you're really living your purpose. Because no one at the end of their life ever said, I wish I hadn't tried this, that, and the other. The biggest regret that people have is, I wish I would have followed my heart more. I wish I wouldn't have worried so much. I wish I wouldn't have worked at this job that I didn't like so much. So those are the kind of regrets people have at the end of their life. So in this video, I wanted to just start to pose those questions to you and just see where you're at with this. And if this is really resonating with you, then there's a reason for that. And I'm gonna go into far more detail in the next video about, what do you do now? What does this mean? And it's something that's happening to a lot of people. So you're in really good company. But life is meant to be lived. It's not meant to be worked. Life is meant to be experienced. It's not meant to just be going through the motions. You know, we have to get off. We have to stop thinking the same thoughts that we thought the day before. Because when you think the same thoughts, you create the same reality. And it just goes and goes and goes. And, you know, what are we all here for? I personally think we're all here for we tell our children that you're unique. You have a gift, and the gift is being you. And along with that is a purpose, and is a passion, and is something that you have to give. I mean, it doesn't have to be in the form of a career, but I just wanted to record this for you to just start getting your wheels turning, just to see if there's more for you. And if so, I hope you'll tune in for the next video on how to tap into this further. So thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if this was something you really enjoyed, and subscribe so that you can follow along in this series on purpose. And also, last but not least, we do have our live meditations every Saturday. So please join us at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we can all meditate together, because you guys, it really is a beautiful experience when you meditate as a community. You can feel it. You can feel the energy. You can feel a lot of the things that I talk about here. So I'd really encourage you to just set aside that time. We usually only go for like 20 minutes, 15 minutes. So it's not long. And with that, thank you all so much, and keep shining your light.